Welcome. Today we are looking at reading for critical evaluation. I am Anthony Onai. Lesson objectives. Students should be able to detail from various reading material evidence, if any, of illogicality, inconsistency, faulty reasoning, misleading statements. Introduction. The essence of reading, be it for fun, school, or work, is to acquire information and to gain knowledge. You may be reading for a test, an examination, interview, or for a presentation. You may be reading from your notebook, a textbook, or an article. The best way to enhance clarity, comprehension, and acquire knowledge from reading is by critical evaluation. With critical evaluation, you are able to check for errors, wrong spelling, wrong use of words, false information, or misleading statements. We will be looking at various ways on how to critically evaluate what we are reading. You notice at times that not everything written is correct. So by critical thinking and evaluation, you are able to know what is correct, you're able to get false informations, wrong use of words, wrong spelling, and errors. On to the next one, we'll be looking at illogicality. When reading a passage or a textbook, it is important to check for illogicality, that is to confirm if the information is logical or valid or has a rational explanation. Just because a statement is written doesn't mean it is correct or logical. Hence, when reading, ensure you think carefully before accepting it as correct. For instance, Mike said all students in senior schools learn physics. Such statement is certainly not logical. Just because a student is in senior class doesn't mean they study physics. Some could be in art classes, thus rendering that statement to be illogical. Next is inconsistency. Critical evaluation entails checking for inconsistencies in a sentence, passage, or text. When a passage is not consistent, then it isn't correct. A passage has to stay the same throughout. When a text is contradictory or conflicting, it means there is something wrong with it, and as such, can be called authentic. An example of such text could be, one way of preventing the spread of coronavirus is by wearing face masks. But if you wear face masks, you will contract the virus. You already know that this statement is wrong. Such statement can be termed inconsistent as it is contradictory. It is saying yes and no at the same time. And we all know you can either say yes or you say no. Next is faulty statements. This shows the faults, errors, or defects in the passage or text. It could be typo error, omission, wrong spelling, or wrong use of grammar. It requires having a keen eye, a sharp mind, and good grammatical skills. Example, the principal decided to addressing the students on the hall since it was rain. You can see the errors in that statement. Addressing ought to be addressed. Students is students. On the hall should be in the hall, and rain ought to be raining. With critical evaluation, you easily detect words and statements which are faulty in a passage or text. We also have misleading statements. From the title, you can easily understand what this is all about. To mislead others, to give wrong ideas, to give wrong information, to lead someone in the wrong direction. This picture shows a typical advertising issues we always have. This picture is a good example of misleading. In the advert, you have a burger filled with large beef, tomatoes, lettuce, and other ingredients. But in reality, it's just more like a bread having a piece of meat in between. The information given has misled the public into buying that burger. Same way, some passages can lead you into having a wrong idea or taking wrong decisions. Critical evaluation helps you to identify logic, grammar and spelling errors, integrity, misleading, and fake news. By critically evaluating such things, you will know and find out if it's logical, the grammatical errors, spelling errors, misleading statements. You're able to know the integrity of what you have read, and you can also help you identify fake news. The summary. Critical evaluation is making sound judgments about the intellectual, moral, and practical value of a passage or text. It is deep and thorough. look at what the text means, how it works, its originality and authenticity, finding out what materials were used and references made, making sure the text is accurate and logical. When carrying out such evaluation, you read with an open mind, a sharp eye, and you read slowly. It is a process that involves calmness and patience. And finally, we'll be having a little exercise for our students. Answer the following questions. 1. In your own words, what is critical evaluation? 2. What ways can be used to critically evaluate a text? 3. Can a statement be yes and no at the same time? 4. Give a different example of a statement that is self-contradictory. And 5. What have you learned from this topic? Send your answers and inquiries to jimosmith@edufirst.ng. Thank you. See you next.